lot of Nordic brands. Before we get into the specific brands themselves, because we're going to get there, and I'm hearing you guys list off a lot of the similarities. But for the individuals that are just like, well, why Nordic region? Like, why there in comparison to, Australia, who also has a lot of retailers, or another market? Like, can you guys just like, from a research standpoint and observations, just list off what are the core fundamentals of why the Nordic region is the space and the place to be comparing Canada's market to. And Adrienne, you can start it off because, like, for listeners who may not be familiar with that research,
Hmm.
what led Canidé and MO to begin comparing
Yeah.
Quebec and Nordic markets in the first place? Yeah, like what was that? I guess that journey into saying
Hmm.
like this is the market we should be looking
Yeah.
towards.
It's quite a journey. I think it really started from curiosity, also from Emma's behalf. They came to us. We personally worked with Emma on several different projects, and that's how we came to work with them on that specific project, which was kind of like a not a test run, but in a sense it was. And we did more like the marketing aspect of this project, but there was also a marketing firm, research firm that was also looking into data. So that was working in complementarity with what we were doing. And initially, like we really had to adapt throughout the process because initially we wanted to do like a seeding thing with influencers, like really reach out to a lot of different influencers in different markets.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like media, like we really had like a bigger, broader list. But then we really quickly found out that it wasn't going to be easy to work that way or like the way we usually do here because we don't have relationships with people over there. Like they don't
Right.
know us. And what really stood out for us as a team is that people don't really associate Canada with fashion. Like we came to them, like they were interested, they genuinely wanted to discover the brands, but there wasn't that close proximity to like, oh yeah, I know Canadian fashion. I want to participate in the project. So it was really hard for us to confirm people. And that's why eventually, somewhere down the road, we were like, we have to work with someone on a more like structured way. So we put gifting aside and we decided to have like a collaboration with someone with a signed contract to really produce content and really be able to also integrate our key messages. That was also
And
important to us.
And so on the onset, those key messages, like from the research that you were given, what were those key identifiers of like this resonates here in Canada and also there? Like, what are some of
Hmm.
the like things that you could list off
Yeah.
that were just evident?
Yeah. Well, it actually kind of like circled back to what you said. It was really sustainability, the environment, the place that we are in, also the size of the market, because, in Denmark, Sweden, it's quite small markets as well, just like it is here. So I think there's an element that is interesting for us there. And something we kind of also played on is that Denmark specifically has a huge importance to Montreal fashion, I think. I think a lot of Montreal designers really look up to Denmark and they really integrate elements into their own designs. And so I think personally that it also has an important place here. And so we kind of like used also that kind of fact to really put the importance of the project to those creators over there, and how it was also important for us, for them to discover what we can do and how we share this kind of Nordicity and common values and similar environments without really knowing it. And so we really were like, we want to work with you. We want to like build something together as a first collaboration. So that's kind of like how we played it.
Wow, I love that, and I like that word Nordicity. It sticks with me very well. Robert, so you spent the more than a decade building Pilgrim Canada. I know that there's two markets that you guys cater to. That you have the European and there's a Canadian one. The similarities that you've mentioned, was that the first thing when you started building it that you noticed that like this is what I've seen in Canada, or like did it slowly grow where you started in building in the Canadian market? You started to see, oh, these are the similarities in the two markets. Like, was it very obvious at first?
It was. I mean, that was one of the reasons why, I decided to bring Pilgrim in. When we look at, let's say, the population of Quebec and we look at the population of Denmark, they're very similar in size. And Pilgrim being so successful in Denmark, I saw that there could be an opportunity to be able to do that same kind of element within the
Mm.
Quebec market.
Right.
And once you kind of get your foothold within the Quebec market, then you can kind of expand. Like, because unfortunately, sometimes the more Anglo markets,
Yeah.
sometimes when you leave Quebec, are less curious about discovering new brands at
Yeah.
first. You almost need to come in really big
Mm-hmm.
and known. So when we were approaching wholesale partners in Ontario and in Alberta, it was let's see, let's wait, let's discover,
Right.
versus a lot of Quebec entrepreneurs had had the opportunity to work with other Danish brands
Mm-hmm.
where they delivered, where they saw the value proposition, where they also saw the quality proposition. And so they were ready to kind of take that leap and trying to enhance a new brand that was in a way also connected Québécois, because our team was French and we had also had that kind of history with Canada and Quebec. And so we were able to kind of pair those two together.